I've seen it all. Men with million-dollar accounts turned into beggars. Brilliant minds destroyed by a single bad habit. And every time, it wasn't the market that killed them. It was themselves. You want to know the truth? Traders don't fail because they're unlucky. They fail because they commit the same 9 sins, again and again, until the market takes everything. I've committed each of them myself, and everyone left a scar. When I began trading, I thought knowledge was enough. Charts, numbers, logic. I devoured it all. But the market doesn't care how much you know. It only cares how much control you have. Every blown account, every painful loss, wasn't a failure of analysis. It was a failure of discipline. The first sin was ego, believing I could never be wrong. The moment you believe that, you're already finished. The second sin was revenge, trying to win back what the market took, like a gambler chasing his dignity. And the third, greed, the silent addiction that whispers, just one more trade. You see, these sins don't scream. They whisper. They creep in when you're tired, overconfident, or desperate. They feed on emotion, and they wait for your weakest moment to strike. I've watched traders ruin themselves not in one big mistake, but in 1,000 tiny ones, each born from one of these deadly habits. And the cruelest part? The market rewards these sins. At first, it gives you just enough success to make you trust your weakness. Then it takes it all back, with interest. If you're listening to this, understand something. The path to mastery isn't about learning what to do. It's about unlearning what destroys you. I've lost fortunes. I've rebuilt them. But I never escaped those lessons. Because every time I broke discipline, the market reminded me, you can't cheat your own psychology. If you want to survive in this game, you must first learn to recognize your sins before they own you. Welcome to Jesse Livermore Academy, where we expose every hidden weakness, every emotional trap, and turn them into discipline, control, and profit. Subscribe now, and learn to master the one enemy that never leaves the market: yourself. Every trader believes failure happens in one moment, one bad trade, one wrong click. But the truth is darker. Failure is built slowly, one sin at a time. The first sin is ego. It whispers after a few wins. You figured it out. You stop studying, stop questioning, and start believing the market owes you profit. That's when it begins, the quiet death of discipline. Then comes greed. It doesn't ask for permission. It disguises itself as ambition. You increase your position size, tell yourself it's confidence, but it's addiction. I watched it consume me more than once. The third sin is impatience. You can't wait for the setup. You want action, excitement, movement. But trading isn't a movie. It's meditation. Impatience turns logic into noise. After that creeps in hope, the most expensive emotion on Wall Street. You hold losers because you hope they'll turn. You justify, rationalize, pray. Hope is not strategy. It's self-deception in disguise. Then comes fear, the coward that exits too soon, that cuts winners short and lets losers live. Fear trades from pain, not from plan. The sixth sin, revenge. You lose one trade and think, I'll get it back. But you never do. You only get deeper. Because revenge isn't about money. It's about ego begging for repair. Overtrading follows, the belief that activity equals progress. You fill your screen with noise, trying to prove your existence to the market. But every unnecessary trade is a confession that you're no longer in control. Then comes pride, the refusal to admit mistakes, the blindness that stops you from cutting a loss or accepting a lesson. I've seen traders lose fortunes simply because they couldn't say 3 words. I was wrong. And finally, the deadliest sin of all, self-neglect. You forget rest, routine, reflection. You become consumed by the screen, chasing validation instead of mastery. That's when the market doesn't have to destroy you. You destroy yourself. Each sin starts small, a thought, a feeling, a single broken rule. But together they form the storm that wipes out everything you've built. You think the market punishes mistakes. It doesn't. It punishes weakness repeated. So look inside your trades. Which sin is whispering to you right now? Because the longer you ignore it, the louder the market will make you listen. It took me years, fortunes lost, and sleepless nights to realize this. The market doesn't destroy traders, their own emotions do. Every sin we commit, greed, fear, pride, impatience, isn't born from the chart. It's born from within. I used to blame the market for every loss. Bad data, bad timing, bad luck. But the truth was staring back at me in the mirror. I wasn't losing trades. I was losing control. You can't beat the market by fighting it. You can only win by mastering yourself. Ego makes you deaf to warning signs. Hope blinds you to truth. Revenge burns your discipline to ashes. Each trade becomes less about logic, more about emotion. You start seeing what you want to see, not what's real. That's how traders die. Not from the crash, but from the illusion of control. The market punishes only one thing: weakness repeated. It doesn't care how smart you are, how fast your chart loads, or how perfect your system looks. If your mind cracks under pressure, your strategy means nothing. You can copy my methods, my setups, even my trades, but you'll still lose if you don't master your impulses. Because trading isn't a game of money, it's a game of mental endurance. The weak break in excitement, the strong wait in silence. That's the real sin. Not ignorance, but arrogance. The belief that you're bigger than the market. You can't control the tape. You can only control your response to it. The moment you realize that, the market stops being your enemy and becomes your mirror. You see, the market doesn't punish you for being wrong. It punishes you for staying wrong. Every trader sins, even the great ones. But the difference between success and destruction isn't perfection. It's discipline. Discipline is what saves you when greed whispers, "Stay in," and fear screams, "Get out." I've learned that the real battle isn't between bulls and bears, it's between patience and impulse. You don't need to trade more. You need to wait longer. You don't need better signals. You need better self-control. Every winning trader I've ever known shared one trait: they knew when not to act. Because in silence, there's safety. In waiting, there's wisdom. And in restraint, there's profit. So when the market tests your emotions, remember this truth. You can't master the market until you master yourself. That's not just philosophy. That's survival. It was 1915. The air on Wall Street felt electric. Stocks climbing every day, brokers smiling, and I felt untouchable. I had just come off one of my biggest winning streaks. Every trade printed profit. Every position moved in my favor. The ticker felt like it was reading my mind. That's when the first sin came: ego. I stopped listening to the market and started believing in myself. The market was no longer my teacher, it was my stage, and I was the star. So when I saw a stock I didn't understand moving fast, I didn't analyze, I acted. I doubled my size, convinced I could control the outcome. For a few hours, it worked. Then, without warning, the reversal hit. The price didn't crash all at once. It slipped, slowly, deliberately, like the market was asking me, "Are you sure you want to stay?" And I stayed. Because the second sin, greed, had already taken over. I told myself, it'll bounce, it always does. But it didn't. I moved my stop lower, then removed it completely. That's when I committed the worst sin of all: hope. Hope is a soft word, but it destroys traders harder than fear ever could. Hours turned to days. My winning streak vanished. I wasn't thinking about money anymore. I was thinking about redemption. The market didn't care. Every tick lower felt like a heartbeat fading. I wasn't losing money. I was losing discipline. And once discipline is gone, the market shows no mercy. When I finally closed the position, it wasn't because I accepted the loss. It was because there was nothing left to lose. That day, I sat in silence. The ticker still running, but my confidence completely shattered. And as I stared at that machine, I understood the truth that built my career. The market punishes emotion. It only rewards control. That loss became my greatest teacher. It wasn't numbers on a page, it was my reflection. Ego, greed, hope. The three sins that nearly ended me. From that day on, I swore a rule. Never trade for excitement. Never trade to prove a point. Trade only when your mind is silent and your plan is clear. Because every trader faces that same test, not from the market, but from within. And if you can conquer that storm inside, no crash, no panic, no reversal will ever break you again. The market doesn't test your charts, it tests your character. Every trader faces the same battlefield, not the exchange floor but the space between thought and impulse. And that's where the 9 sins live. They don't appear as mistakes, they appear as feelings. Greed feels like ambition. Fear feels like caution. Ego feels like confidence. Hope feels like patience. And that's how they deceive you. I've lived through all of them, and survived only because I learned to recognize their disguises. Fear is the first assassin. It doesn't kill your account, it kills your conviction. It makes you exit winners too early, and hold losers too long. It teaches you to protect pennies while risking fortunes. Then comes greed, the loudest voice in the room. It starts as a whisper. Add a little more. You're on a roll. And suddenly, logic turns into lust for more. You stop seeing the market, you see only money. That's when the fall begins. But the cruelest of them all is ego. Ego is the shadow that grows behind every profit. It convinces you that discipline is for others, not for you. It blinds you from risk. It turns wisdom into arrogance. And when ego and greed join hands, hope follows right behind. Hope keeps you from closing losing trades. It's soft, emotional, human. But in the market, it's poison. I've seen traders hold positions until their accounts bled dry. Not because they didn't know better, but because they couldn't let go of their pride. Then comes revenge. The sin of emotional traders. You lose once, and your heart demands payback. You stop trading the market. You start trading your pain. Every revenge trade feels righteous at first, but it always ends the same. Faster losses, heavier regret. And when all else fails, you reach the final sin. Self-neglect. You skip rest, skip review, skip reflection. Your body's tired, your judgment's dull, and the market senses it. The truth is simple. You can't win if you're not present. You can't focus if your mind is fractured. The market isn't cruel. It's honest. It shows you exactly who you are under pressure. And that's the essence of trading psychology. The market doesn't change people. It reveals them. If you want to succeed, you must fight these 9 sins every single day, not with emotion, but with awareness. Because the moment you conquer yourself, the market finally stops being chaos and becomes clarity. You've seen what destroys traders. Ego, greed, fear, revenge, neglect. Now let me show you how to fight them. These are the rules that saved me. The code I wrote not on paper, but in pain. Rule 1. Stop trading emotions, start trading plans. Before every trade, ask yourself, what am I really trading? The setup or my state of mind? If you're angry, excited, or desperate, you're not trading strategy. You're trading emotion. Every professional I knew had one secret weapon: preparation. Write your plan, define your risk, then follow it even when your heart screams otherwise. That's discipline, and it's rarer than any edge. Rule 2. Size small, think big. Greed feeds on position size. When you trade too large, you stop thinking clearly. Control your size, and you control your fear. Small trades keep your mind calm enough to think. Big trades make you blind. You can't control profit, but you can control pressure. And that's how you survive long enough to win. Rule 3. Wait for confirmation, not comfort. Most traders chase comfort. They want to feel right before they act. But reversals, trends, and profits don't come to those who feel safe. They come to those who wait for clarity. When you feel the urge to jump early, pause. The crowd acts fast. The professional acts right. Patience is the filter that separates emotion from execution. Rule 4. Record everything you do. The market repeats, but so do your mistakes. Write down every trade, every emotion, every reaction. Soon you'll see a pattern, not in the market, but in yourself. That's how I learned to master my fear. I wrote it down until I recognized it before it appeared. Your journal is your mirror. Use it. Rule 5. Protect your mind, not just your money. You can recover lost capital, but you can't recover a broken mindset. Rest when you need to. Reflect daily. Protect your focus like it's part of your account. Because it is. The best traders don't just trade systems. They trade from balance. These 5 rules built the foundation that saved me from every storm. I broke them once and paid the price. Now I live by them, because the market never forgives carelessness. Follow this code and you'll stop reacting like the crowd, and start operating like a professional. Because real mastery doesn't come from beating the market. It comes from disciplining the mind that trades it. Let me ask you something. When you look at your last 10 trades, how many were made by your plan? And how many were made by your emotion? Be honest. Because every trader fights a hidden enemy. And it's not the market. It's one of the 9 sins that lives inside you. Maybe it's ego, whispering that you're smarter than the crowd. Maybe it's fear, stealing your conviction. Or greed, turning every small win into a big mistake. So tell me, which one controls you? Do you chase the rush of the next candle? Do you double down to get it back? Or do you hesitate, waiting for confirmation that never comes? The first step to mastering the market is admitting which sin rules your trades. Drop it in the comments below. Which of Livermore's 9 trading sins haunts you most? Is it impatience, hope, pride? Your answer might save another trader watching this right now. Because awareness isn't just power, it's profit. The market is your mirror. And it's time to face what it's showing you. I've broken every rule. I've sinned in every way a trader can. And I've paid the price for all of them. But here's what the market taught me. Failure isn't final. Repetition is. You can recover every dollar you lose, but you'll never recover the time wasted fighting your own emotions. The market won't forgive weakness, but it will always reward discipline. So if this lesson hit you, don't let it fade. Face your sins, rewrite your habits, and start trading with clarity, not chaos. Subscribe now, and join the Jesse Livermore Academy, where we turn mistakes into mastery and traders into professionals. Because the greatest profit you'll ever make won't come from the market. It'll come from mastering yourself.